How to make money as an artist. The dream, right? But it's not just about slapping a logo on your work and calling it a day. This article digs into the nitty-gritty of what makes a brand tick, especially for artists.
Totally. And one thing that really stood out to me was this idea that an artist's brand is about so much more than just like a logo or a color scheme.
It's bigger than that for sure. It's like, think about those iconic fashion designers, right?
Right.
Like what comes to mind when you think of, say, Vivienne Westwood?
Bold statements, punk rock vibes.
Exactly. And those rebellious designs, that's not just aesthetic. That's her brand identity, woven into every stitch. It attracts a certain kind of customer, a certain energy.
That's such a good point. It's about attracting the people who connect with what you're putting out there, who get your whole vibe. And I noticed the article also mentioned using merch to like really solidify that brand identity. What are your thoughts on that?
Merch can be a game changer if you use it strategically.
Hmm.
Let's say you're known for these whimsical animal portraits, right?
Hmm.
Don't just stop at selling the original artwork. Think tote bags with those adorable faces on them, phone cases, maybe even limited edition prints.
So smart. It's like planting little seeds of your art everywhere.
Exactly. It keeps your work top of mind. People see it, they remember it, and bam, you've created this whole ecosystem around your art.
Love that. Okay, so we've got our brand, we're spreading the word. But how does an artist actually, make those sales? The article talks about both online and in-person avenues, which can feel like a lot to handle.
It's a balancing act, that's for sure. You've got these amazing online platforms like Etsy and Saatchi Art that open up a whole world of possibilities.
It's incredible, right? Like suddenly you can reach art lovers across the globe without even leaving your studio.
Exactly. But, and this is something the article touches on, there's a potential downside to these online marketplaces.
Oh, totally. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Well,
What are some things artists should watch out for?
well, for starters, competition is fierce online, like seriously fierce. And on top of that, many platforms take a commission on every sale. So you've got to be strategic about your pricing and really make sure the platform aligns with your target audience.
So it's all about finding the right fit, not just jumping on the most popular platform.
100%. But then you've got those artists who thrive on that face-to-face interaction, and the article definitely doesn't discount the power of in-person selling. Art fairs, craft markets, gallery openings, those can be game changers.
There's something magical about seeing art in person, don't you think? You get to experience it in a whole new way.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Attending those events successfully, it takes more than just showing up with your artwork, your booth, your whole setup. It's like an extension of your brand.
Like you're curating an experience.
Exactly. Presentation is everything. Make it visually appealing, well lit.
Mm.
And don't be afraid to chat with people.
Yeah.
Share your creative process. Let your personality shine through.
It's about building those real connections.
100%. Because those connections, they can lead to repeat customers,
Yeah.
word-of-the-mouth referrals. It's all gold.
So we've talked about branding, we've talked about selling, but let's get real for a second. How can artists create a sustainable income from their art?
The million-dollar question, right. And I love that this article emphasizes the importance of diversifying your income streams.
Yes. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I know that can feel overwhelming, especially for artists who are just starting out. What are some ways to diversify it without, like, losing your mind?
Well, for starters, the article mentions a few good ones. Selling prints, taking on commissions, maybe even teaching art classes. But there's one area I think deserves a deeper dive. Art licensing.
Okay, break that down for us. Art licensing, it sounds a little intimidating.
It's actually a really cool way to generate passive income from your existing work. Imagine your illustrations on phone cases, or your patterns on fabric, or your artwork featured in a video game.
Wait, really? That's amazing.
It's huge. Each time a product featuring your art is sold, you earn royalties. It's like instead of selling one original piece, you're selling the rights to reproduce your work on a larger scale.
That's brilliant.
Right. It's all about leveraging your creativity in new and exciting ways.
This is already so much to process, and we've barely scratched the surface. Wow, art licensing sounds like a game changer. But let's move on to another way for artists to make money. Building a strong online presence. That's something this article really hammers home.
It's non-negotiable these days. It's like having a storefront, but digital, open 24/7, reaching the entire world.
Totally. But with so much competition online, how can artists make their work stand out? It's easy to feel lost in the scroll.
You're preaching to the choir.
Mm.
And the article really emphasizes this. It all starts with a killer digital portfolio.
Like a digital museum for your art?
Exactly. High-quality photos are essential. Maybe even hire a professional photographer if your budget allows. And here's a tip the article mentions, something a lot of artists might not know about print-on-demand services.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. For anyone who's not familiar, could you explain how that works?
Sure. These platforms like Redbubble or Society6 let you upload your designs, and they handle everything else. Printing them on, well, basically anything you can imagine, t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, you name it.
So it's like having your own merch line without the hassle of actually, making and shipping everything yourself.
Precisely. They manage inventory, they handle orders and customer service. You just upload your art, set your prices, and collect your cut.
That is pretty amazing. And it seems like a perfect way for artists to tap into that passive income stream we were talking about earlier.
And while we're on the topic of online strategies, the article also talks about the importance of social media. It can be a powerful tool for artists, but it can also be a real time suck, am I right?
Ugh, tell me about it. So how can artists use social media effectively without getting totally sucked into the vortex?
It's about being strategic. Think of it less as self-promotion and more about community building. Engage with your followers, respond to comments, show your personality.
Yeah, people want to connect with the human behind the art.
Right. And don't underestimate the power of collaborations either. The article touches on this briefly, but I think it's worth emphasizing.
Collaborations are great. What are some do's and don'ts when it comes to finding the right collaborators, you think?
The key is to find people whose work and values align with yours. Reach out to artists you admire, maybe someone with a complementary style. Think a ceramicist collaborating with a florist, or a painter teaming up with a musician for a gallery opening.
Those are some cool combinations.
It's all about finding those win-win partnerships that broaden your reach and bring something new to the table.
Love it. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from online portfolios to strategic partnerships. But I keep thinking back to something this article emphasized early on, defining your own version of success. What does that even mean as the art world? It's like we can talk about all these strategies, but at the end of the day, success is going to look different for every artist, right?
100%. And that's something this article really nails. It gives you the tools, but it also encourages you to define what success means for you. Not your art school professor, not the gallery owner down the street you.
It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, especially with social media. Like you see someone else's success and think, oh, I need to be doing that.
Comparisonitis. It's a real thing. But here's the deal. Your path as an artist, it's going to be unique. There's no one-size-fits-all blueprint for success.
So how do you even begin to figure out what success looks like for you?
It's about tuning out all that outside noise. Take some time to reflect. What are your core values? What kind of impact do you want your art to have on the world? Who are you creating for?
It's like finding your artistic compass, that inner voice that guides you.
Exactly. And sometimes that means going against the grain, doing things your own way.
Love that. So for those listening who might be feeling a little lost, maybe a bit overwhelmed by all this information, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Don't try to boil the ocean, Start small. Pick one thing, update your website, reach out to a potential collaborator, test out a new social media strategy. Just one thing.
Small steps, big results.
That's it. And remember to celebrate the wins along the way, no matter how small they might seem.
So important. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. Always a pleasure geeking out about art and business.
Well, to everyone listening, the world needs your art, your unique voice, your creativity. Don't be afraid to share it with the world.
Hear, hear. And don't forget to have fun along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, everyone, happy creating.